Hi, and welcome back to my Tricycle Life. So today I wanted to talk about another of my one of my trikes that I own for a number of years now. I'm the original owner of this bike, and this is the recumbent style trike. Um, as you can see, it has two wheels in the back, one in the front, and that makes it a traditional design of trike. But what makes this a bit different than your average trike is the seating position, which is called a recumbent style of trike. So, which means the way you sit is like a recliner position. You're pedaling with your feet out in front of you, and the frame from back wheels to front wheels is noticeably a lot longer, which gives it a lot more stability than your average truck does, and it does a lot in its design, which I will go through that in a second. But this trike is made by Sun Trikes, so SUN, and I think I bought this bike in about 2008, and I got it at my local bike shop, and this bike back then was about I would say about $1,800. It did not have anything what you see now on it, which means when I first got it, it had 20s in the rear, 20-inch rims in the rear, and it had 16-inch rim in the front. So that made it a lot shorter, a lot easier to get onto, especially if you're the type of person that has a hard time moving around. Getting on one of these bikes stock would have been a lot, so much easy to get on and maneuver. I changed mostly everything on it since then, such as with this one, I put 29s in the rear and I put 26s in the front. The reason why I did that is because of a couple of reasons, which is when it was stock, because it had the 16-inch rim in the front, it was very twitchy as it turned, meaning that just a light flick of a wrist, you can actually turn the bike, and it would react to your movement very quickly, and to the point where my butt would slide off the seat, because it reacted so quickly, and that's kind of not what you want your truck to do, or any bike to do, actually. I think so. Plus the sprocket size in the front, I changed. This one, I changed because since I had the 29s in the rear, you generally want to downsize your sprocket size to help you from a dead stop get the bike going easy. So I did those, and I also changed the front derailleur and rear derailleur. When I first got it, it had a 7-speed in the back, while it had a 3-speed um, gears in the front. Now it has, I believe, 8 or 9 speeds in the rear. It still has the 3-speed in the front, but just different gear ratio. And I also something also to mention is when I first got the bike, it had no suspension at all. Later on, I added the suspension forks in the front. It was very hard to find suspension for this bike because this part right here, it's so tall that they don't make they don't make forks that could be that was that long. So it was really hard to locate something that was, so I can put suspension on this. But when I did find it, it changed the bike's how it rode drastically. And the other reason why I added the 26-inch rims in the front is because it slowed down the how fast the bike turned, meaning that instead of the bike wanting to turn fast and sharp all the time, it allowed the bike to be more slower in its turning and a lot more predictable. And with the trike, that's more important than how fast it turns, because of it being trike. What happens is you go so far into a turn, and it's kind of hard to explain. So trucks tend to have body roll, just like a car does, like a very old car. So because of how it's designed, for example, this one, because I was able to slow down the turning reaction with that bigger front tire, I was able to feel the body roll of the bike, so I can feel that what the limitations of the bike before it flipped over, basically, and that's a really good thing to have or to feel, so you don't so you know when not to push a bike and when to push it. So and two, by adding the bigger rims, the ride quality changes as well, because before I would be running over cracks in the road or potholes, and the smaller rims, depending on the size of the pothole and cracks, they want to go into the crack, into the pothole, and it makes the ride quality a lot more intense and a lot more rough. But having a 26 and 29, the rims kind of roll over the potholes and cracks, and it makes the ride quality smoother, a lot less bouncy, and a lot more aggressive for you as the rider. So your back's not getting jolted. If you have back issues or any other issues, you're not getting punished. So you can enjoy the bike, you can enjoy the ride better. And then I changed the gooseneck on it, so I can put the handlebars closer to me as a rider, and that gave it a better, also added to the handling of the bike. And before, when I had the 16-inch rim in the front, it had V brakes in the front. It still had disc brakes in the rear, but the V brakes with this type of trike, it was I was asking a lot out of those V brakes because of the weight of the bike and the force behind it was a lot to stop. But since then, I went put the suspension forks on it. It had a mount for disc brake system, so I went and bought a new set of rims that was made by GT Swiss, and that is a US based company that makes high-end rims, and they also make high-end hubs as well. But I went online, I found these rims. They came in the set, so I bought them, and so I added they had the disc brakes mount on the front and the back, so I put the front rim on this one, and I put the matching rear on a different bike, so they would get used. And I also decided to put the size of the rotor. I think the front has a 180, while the back one has a 160. And the reason why I did that was because of generally the front brakes are gonna have to do more work than the rears, and that is generally true for most vehicles that have brakes. The front brakes they have about 75% of the job to stop, and the rears have the rest. So that's why I put the bigger rotors in the front. So when you're under use, they don't heat up as fast, and they can get rid of heat as fast. So that way the bike is going to be stopped efficiently every time, and I don't have to worry about heating issues. As you can see, the seat doesn't have the seat back no longer. I'm in the process of replacing it. Unfortunately, the seat on here lasts about a year. As you can see, the bottom of the seat is dry. The pad is dry, and you can see the foam underneath. This bike has been outside most of its life, so it's been definitely weathered for sure. I think since I got it, I put like at least 2 to 4,000 miles on it, if not more. So about once a year, I have to either replace the whole seat or just the seat cover. And this time, I think I'm going to take the seat to a professional upholstery. They do cars and motorcycles. I think I'm going to have to wrap it in some type of like a vinyl material they use for motorcycles. The last time I did that on one of my other bikes, it's been lasting over 6 or 7 years now, so I think I'd rather go that route than getting a new stock seat. That will only the pads are the pads are going to only last a year or two, and I don't think that's worth it at this point because just this bottom part alone is about $60, and if it's only going to last a year, then kind of what's the point, you know? In the back, it's like a mesh, and again, those last usually on this type of bike about 2 years. Again, I imagine if you had the bike in the garage, it might last longer for sure. And other things I've done with it, I put a 2-to-1 brake lever on it, so I control how one of the brakes. So with having a if you have cable brakes, a 2-to-1 might be a good upgrade because of what you're doing is you're controlling the back brake and front brake in tandem, so which that makes the bike stop faster and more efficiently. And for me, for being one-handed, I have to, I can't control two brake levers separately. So the way I solved that issue, like I said, is the 2-to-1, and that seemed to correct the issue. And also, I put all the controls on one side. I have the stock style shifter on the end of it, and then I have a thumb shifter that for the back. So again, that makes me, because I'm one-handed, that makes me have full control over everything that the bike does. And like when I'm going uphill, it's nice to be able to, appropriately shift the bike in the right gear as it's going uphill. That's another thing too with this style of bike. This is a one-wheel drive, which means if you can see the bike, on the axle, there's only one drive tire that is pushing the bike, and what that does is when the front end, if the front end gets off the ground, then it's gonna want to steer by itself, meaning that say this is your drive tire over here, and you are going uphill, and because all the weight is in the back, if you pop it really, because you're going, like I said, you're going uphill, you're in your easiest gears, and it's pretty easy to pop a wheelie at that point. So as you pop a wheelie, your drive tire is going to want to steer the bike left. And you can correct that if you find a rhythm that, if you know that the bike's going to go left, you can always, like when the tire is in the air, you can always slightly turn to the right, and right when the tire hits, and correct itself basically. And if you time it just right to straighten the wheel back up, you can keep the bike under control. I've been in numerous times on this bike that I was going uphill for a good amount of time, and I had to um, regulate my power, my torque on the crank, so that I will keep the front end as down as possible. So it's not and the biggest reason why I did that is because with my modifications, if you can see the tilt of the frame from the rear to the front, kind of has like a, it kind of wants to lean up, wants to go upwards, and that was because of the factory designed it to have a 16 in the front and 20s in the rear. So when it had those tires, the frame was kind of more level. It looked more natural sitting. But once you modify it like this, you can see stuff is gonna start being different, and that's what happened in my case, and that made because it wants to tilt back. It basically like forced all the weight over the rear tires, and for a trike like this, that isn't bad because with a traditional trike, if you don't have the weight balance correct, then if there's too much weight towards the front of the bike like this, it's gonna want to tip over super easy, and that's why ATCs are not being made no more. It's because of that reason, is they're really unpredictable and unbalanced. But like I said, when you have the weight in the proper place, which is more over the rear axle, then it's more stable that way. Especially being a recumbent, that you're basically sitting almost on top of the frame, so your weight is down low. If you were gonna ride a traditional style trike, the traditional trike is more, the seating position is more like a two-wheel bike. It has a regular bike seat. You have to your body is up higher over the bike frame, and what that does is it makes the bike more top heavy, and with that style bike, that's not always a good design if you want the bike to perform like a high performance truck. Which that's where I started with is a traditional trike, and I learned quite quickly that if I push the bike beyond its limits and its design, then it would flip over very easy and very quickly. This one, even though that it still has a traditional style design, but like I said, the seating position is way better because you're basically like more on the almost against the frame down low, and then the your weight is more in the back than in the front. So even though like I said, when you go on a hill with a modified bike like this, the front end is gonna bobble up and down because that's where all the weight is in the back. But most people aren't going to be pushing a bike like this up a hill like I do. So, or I've done before. You can change it. You don't have to put 29s in the rear and 26s in the front. I've done a couple different tire rim sizes on this, and I found that in this form is basically as high as I should have it. As any higher, obviously, I'm gonna be making it too top heavy, even though I'm still on the frame, tucked low, but because I'm making it higher, because of the rim size, this is probably as extreme design wise it should go. This is still the design essentially it's designed like a cruiser, just like the basic trike design is as well, but this can perform a lot better. Again, because of the wheelbase is so much longer, it gives you a lot more feedback because of the steel. The frame is steel, so it has flex in the frame. So if you're after a while of riding and getting used to it, you can start to feel the bike kind of flex or body roll, whatever you want to call it. But you can feel the input from the bike, and you can almost feel, excuse me, when it's at the limit of just before it tips over. So you can always correct the bike before it gets to that point. If I had left it with the 16 in the front and the 20s in the rear, it would be a lot more snappier, and I would have less time feeling the bike to getting to that limit of tipping over. In this form, it's a lot more, a lot more things happen a lot more slow. I'm able to get that feedback and then react accordingly, and with enough time to save it. So would I recommend this kind of modifications to anything else? That would depend on that person's skill level. My skill level is to the point where I'm able to modify. I was able to modify this so much and to get more out of it, to push it to its limitation, that I was fine with it. Because I have a lot of seat time in trikes, so I was able to adjust my riding style to its modifications. But if I was talking to another person and saying if they should do this or not, I would say, how many years have you been riding a trike? Are you feeling like you're maxing out the design of the trike in its current form? And I would say, I would ask that we could do small modifications, and then see how they felt about it, and then if they felt that the bike was up to their skill level, then we would probably do more modifications to it. But again, like I said, when I got this bike, it was a lot more. It was a lot more different. I mean, if I could find a stock picture of this bike, I will post it in the video. And I'm basically just trying to show that, depending on your budget, even if you had $1,800 budget, you can get a bike like this or a truck like this, and do what I did, and as you grew as a rider, you can always change the parts of the bike, and allow the bike to change with you as you're getting better at your riding and wanting a bit more performance. There are things you change on the bike that would like change the bike's character. Change how fast it can go. Or how fast it can stop. So you can stay comfortable with the bike's changing, and that way you don't have to necessarily go out and buy a different bike that's more expensive. You can always learn about your existing bike along the way, and you can learn about different ways of modifying it to get a little bit more performance out of it. And like I said, even though this bike looks kind of sad, which it does, over the summer I'm planning on making it whole again. Like I said before, I'm planning on taking this to a upholstery shop. I already went to my local bike shop. I ordered a new back for the frame, and we're gonna make this into a good rideable bike again. Unfortunately, it's been sitting in storage for a while, and time and the weather got to it. But I'm not gonna call quits on it. The reason why I also have so many of my trikes is because I want to show you, the viewer, where these trucks came from, and not only that, but those of you that are looking into wanting to buy a bike like this, but you don't know what type of truck is good for you. That's the reason why I keep these around, is because of I can showcase each of these bikes and talk about them. And if you had any questions, I can answer those questions on how to modify these types of bikes, or if you had a bike like it, we can talk about what could we do to make your bike better, and to also show that here's what $1,800 gets you, here's what $4,000 gets you, and here's what I had to do to modify it for my needs, and what you can do with this type of trike to modify for your needs. Everyone's different. Everyone needs a different set of tools and accessories to make the bike better, and that's what my idea for this channel is for. as to talk about that. I will, um, if you want me to go more in depth with this bike, please comment down below, and I would be more than happy to do another video about this specific bike, especially if you have one already, and to go in more depth so you understand what you can do to your trike like this to change it for you, so you can get a couple more years out of it, or even to push a little bit more performance out of it. Since I already done that, I would like to pass that information along to you, so you don't have to go and do so many trial and error things like I have, so I can tell you right away what works, what doesn't. But with that said, thank you for sticking with me for the end of this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and if you know anybody that could benefit from this video, please share and like, and until next time, bye for now.